man in the doorway. True story time. I was about 4 or 5 years old, and my parents had just separated. My mom was living in a 2-bedroom apartment. I had my own room, but I liked sleeping in her bed whenever I was staying with her. Our 2 bedrooms were at the end of the hallway, directly across from each other. Our apartment was on the first floor, and I remember that it was in the middle of the summer, and my mom had a window open in her bedroom that was directly behind the bed, above the headboard. Anyways, I woke up in the middle of the night and remember sitting up and seeing that our cat was sitting in the door frame of my mom's room. Her door was open and could partially see into my room. It was strange because our cat was a huge snuggler and was typically always in the bed with us. As I was watching him, he walked into my bedroom and meowed. I turned my face to my mom to wake her up, and the 3 to 4 seconds it took to wake her up and asked me what was wrong, we both looked back at the door frame, and there was a man standing in my open doorway, making his way out of my bedroom. I still don't know how she managed to do it so quickly, but my mother proceeded to pick me up and literally throw me out the window. Again, we were on the first floor, and it was maybe a 3-foot drop to the ground. She quickly followed, and we were able to start screaming for help, and someone called 911. The police came, but didn't see any signs of forced entry, only that our front door was unlocked, which led to them believing the man must have exited that way. But the strange thing was that my mom swore up and down she had locked the door that night with a deadbolt and chain lock. About a week later, she was cleaning the kitchen and opened up our water heater closet and found a notebook with names and drawings, as well as a pair of gloves and some gum wrappers. The man had been in our house and hid until we were asleep. Insane lady found their house. A terrifying but true story I experienced when I was 12. I moved to my dad's when I was 10 and didn't know anyone in the area, except for the family my dad was friends with. Single mom with 3 kids. Luckily, there was a girl a couple years older than me, 12 at the time I met her. We got to know each other a little over a couple years. We weren't close, but ended up having the same friends. One night, my friend Rob was hanging out with her and her younger brother. They happened to be in the house alone because my friend's mom was at work, which is where this gets terrifying and sad. Her mother has been helping this one lady through her work and got to know her fairly well. She found out her sister was in a mental institution and was let out recently. The night Rob is hanging out with my friend, they got a knock on the door. My friend thought it was just their mom. She knocks a certain way when coming in and answered it without thinking. Rob wasn't supposed to be there, and he took off through the window to his house down the road. He never thought twice about it. It wasn't her mom. It was the sister of the lady her mom was helping, and she figured out through talking to her sister where her family lived and her mom's working schedule. She came in, and this is where I don't know the details. I'm glad I don't. My friend's younger brother got away to the neighbors to call the police. The lady brutally murdered my friend a week from Christmas, decapitating her and left her body naked in the bathtub. Hit her head. They had to look through the presents, and I don't know where they found it, but they did. I wasn't allowed to go to her funeral. Grandma stalker. This happened to my wife's grandmother about 15 years ago while we were still dating. Her husband had just passed away about a year previously, but she'd been going down to the library and volunteering, exercise, and socializing. This was in the winter, so her walk back was while it was getting dark. The library closed at 5, and then there was some extra stuff to do before everyone actually left. And on this particular night, she turned down a ride from another volunteer because, damn it, she needed to stay in shape. The house is about a mile away through some lightly wooded areas in South Texas, and she was about halfway home. She noticed someone behind her. He's walking the same direction and gaining on her, which in itself isn't all that particular. She's old and thus not particularly fast, but in this case he seemed vaguely sinister. They keep walking. Pretty soon he's right behind her. Then he falls into pace, just staying behind her. Now she knows that something's up, but she's almost home. She can see the top of her driveway coming up, and she leaves her lights on, so it looks like someone's home when she's walking in. She just needs to make it another 150 yards, then 100. All that time, she said he was so close she could feel his breath on her neck. Maybe 50 yards, it happened. A strong head on her shoulders, the man said.
"Okay, bitch, turn around and hand over your purse or I'll fucking cut you."
She stops for a second, then takes one big step forward, turns and shoots the guy in the neck with the .38 she kept in her purse. Hey, it's Texas. The guy spent the next 5 years in a prison hospital before he died of complications. My wife's grandmother passed last year. Up to the end, she lamented that she'd pulled the trigger too soon. My late husband would have been embarrassed to know I missed.